CGQM Office 5521, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Today is the 1 November 2021. We'll take a look at the business channel, but we'll shut down and have a conversation today. Quite simple, quite clear. It's about things that you're doing, a self-defense, if that raised as a portfolio and can be offered in an industrial area as part of industrial activity, white label with many projects, models, and with the violation, indeed you committed industrial crime. And we will have a bit of coffee, a toast. So we will check something here, quite simple, quite clear, which is that model that we had yesterday. A bit more coffee. Now we will consider something quite simple, which is the integration of different segments, and these different segments integrated with a purpose as security, named security forum. We are talking about reality. We will check that this reality can be two functional behavior as up and down, considering the center of circumstance that you apply the law as jurisdiction Brazil, as jurisdiction USA. If you have a failure on both, you for sure will have an international jurisdiction as application of the law, because sometimes we have crimes committed or behaviors that are illegal in all systems, like corruption. We will check something like this. For instance, this epsilon here, as you can observe, is my epsilon with no comma. Here is my epsilon with comma. Let's suppose America, Brazil as function application of the law. I will check a distortion as behavior, which is, for instance, the violation of privacy, considering the application of the law. Brazil will claim the legal system Brazil to have this, awake. But this legal system indeed is committing this violation by misuse of procedure and creating or inventing circumstance which will impact now this function here, which is the application of the law at the security forum, and will create a distortion as perception of crimes and a lot of things as circumstance related with the variable or the variable under observation by application of the American law. And as a reversal behavior, I will check that the behavior observed in this functional area Brazil indeed is something which is under the perception as legal system America, pointing to corruption as disruptive or decreasement of stability, and will awake the legal system as judicial power in USA. That you request information to this function in Brazil, considering the top members as Supreme Court, if they are able to present their property evaluation, their tax declaration, they can be under this kind of examination or do a simple drug test, crossing all to understand if it has any relation with transnational organized crime as top-down corruption scam. In the same way, if they have legitimacy to present all this, they now can claim this to these players here as judicial power America. But to avoid the not balanced relation between both, considering that this goes inside the security forum, this security forum will present the tax examination and property evaluation and drug tests of all members in the Supreme Court America, all members in the Supreme Court Brazil, to forums like the NATO, which is leading major purpose as security and stability. And maybe we will have something. And reviewing. Now let's suppose that we are having our company. I have my company with, it's a global company with a branch on the North Hemisphere, on the South Hemisphere, or in America, in Brazil, like the IBM, for instance, or the AT&T, or the Unisys. Unisys, you can come to Brazil, like Ford Motors, that is having a lot of employees suspended right now in Brazil. And when you suspend them, you must have that you cut your relation, you shouldn't pay their salary. I think that is the law. Then, and we interrupt everything. Instead of suspend, you can interrupt the contract. Then you will check that I will observe distortion inside my company, America, as a behavior which is a variable, impacting my business function as organization, which is against the statement, and I will apply the statement considering that levels as curve, which is the density of application as my regulatory premise against the behavior observed in USA, which is impacting the function of my company, for instance, the hiring process and the blind eye association at this during a long period, put a lot of variables inside, having the broken window, and in a physiological way, as channels connected and interconnecting, stealing the money using my budget and have a redistribution. And then I have a decreasement as capacity as financial payment. Then I need the investor, which is receiving and having the least storage of my money, to apply this money inside my company and overtake the control of everything. By this, we suggest to have state members at board level, CIA, and the FBI, put them on jail, sometimes by treason, criminal conviction with prison for life, or death penalty as application of the American law in USA. In the same way in Brazil, this company has a behavior observed full of failure, like a contract may be 2 billion, and then will impact the function of this company, which is a decreasement of capacity and the needs association with, for instance, the PwC at São Paulo State, and a lot of distortion considering the system of justice, which is fully corrupted and fully filled by corrupted variables. And this will have any kind of consequence at the application of the statement of my company inside the Brazil. Then I will use the statement of my company to observe this behavior and raise a procedure observing the Brazilian law and the law 13,869, abuse of power, and the transnational organized crime law. Indeed, will point and brings to the fake data as public record inside the public department, mandatory need as habeas data by silence 313A plus 13 of our criminal law. Procedural consequence, the inference is unable to be made 239 of procedural law by the fake data and record inside the public department by specific hands on it, impacting the criminal records at security 809 of our procedural law. And then my company will replace, I would say, or sustain the major interests as international security inside the security forum, consider the claim made by the Interpol, which is a strong network with the company, and I'm not part of the company as an independent research and a white label industrial project offered to the NATO financial paper as hellbound transfers to the Interpol to put you, criminal authority in Brazil, on jail. You will be there. So, the statement will observe this behavior, review this contract, and put the function of this company properly again. Do you agree that 20 years on jail will be a big, great, drawn deal, my friend, to prevent the variance of criminal scams in different areas integrated by corruption and to surround the constitutional system around the globe? which is indeed your purpose favored by the application of the law, German theory, the strong of the Constitution, of the power of the Constitution. I think that is Konrad Hesse. Have a nice week.